Hey, what is up? All right. So, just want to say hello. How are you guys? Good. Hope everything is okay with you. See, I got my Knicks shirt on. You know what I'm saying? I gotta try to throw some positive energy. This off season. Gotta do something. Anyway, so tonight I want to get down with a few things that I like to talk about, which is filmmaking, indie filmmaking, really at a at a lower level, or whatever, and how to get things that you need across, with whatever you have. I do want to say, pardon me with my eye. I don't know, it's itching my eyes, so it's all red. So pardon me on that. I look a little weird. But yeah, so my thing, I always like to talk about film. You guys out there that haven't really seen me online before, I usually come on every week or every other week or whatever, and just talk about indie film stuff. How actors should prep, or how a director should prep, or what a producer should be looking for in a director, what a director should be looking for in a producer, and what a writer, how to work with a writer, how to work with uh, um, your crew in the back, an editor or a composer or an effects artist or whatever. So I do these things. Some of you guys may already know. And so I'm just going to go ahead with some subjects that I did want to kind of get on, kind of get off my chest and things like that. But before I do, I just want to say there's still a chance. I'm actually have an Indiegogo page going. So if you want to participate, be part of the crew, be part of the production, go to my Indiegogo page, which is right here. And if anything's, just spread it around, spread the word, share it, we'll see what if anyone's interested. We have 8 days left, so I've got to push that out there because we're always looking to grow, and we are still growing. We do have 4 episodes on Amazon Prime. Now, you guys out there actually looking for us on Amazon Prime, we are out there. We just changed our format to an episodic format, so now you're going to see each and every episode separated as opposed to one big movie. Like it was for the past 3.5 months. So we changed it recently, so you'll see it out there. Just look me up, pull up my name, Barry Gaines, or pull up any of my actors like Daphne Averill or Rob Rios or Zachary Vasquez or anything like that, Daniel Pellissier. You pull up those guys, you'll see it if you want to check it out. It's free on Prime, so go for it. So let me get to some of the subjects that I do want to get into real quick. And all these subjects I get into is just my opinion on things. So it's just what works for me and what has worked for me and what I think the best of anybody was to try something. I feel this is just my opinion on these things. So I'm not going to wait for anyone else to come on. I know it's a little late tonight, so I know everyone's kind of hanging out and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? But I do want to say first things, okay, so the first thing I want to kind of bring up is how to film anything you want with nothing. And that really has to, the first thing you would need to do that. The first thing you need to do is to have a lot of drive. And you have to learn how to be bullheaded. Like you have to learn kind of that balance of being able to listen, to suggestions, but really be bullheaded enough to know that when you wake up day in and day out, you're going to just do that. And everything you do adds up to that production, that idea that you want, whatever it is. That is what you need. So that's the first thing. Once you have the drive and you have the energy, now that's a big one too. I should say health and energy does help. So whatever situation you're in, just have the energy to kind of keep going, to keep on going, because a lot of things are going to come in your way and easily derail you. People leaving, not being able to get certain places, just life itself, bills, money being dispersed somewhere else, and it kind of pulls you back. There's a lot of variations, a lot of variables that come your way, and that's why having a lot of energy and being bullheaded and being so laser focused, it would get you through those moments. So that's the very, very first thing you just have to understand, is to have that before you do anything. When I did these, the camera's backwards and whatnot. But anyway, these, When I did these right now, the World of Worlds and everything, it was something that was a big idea. As you see, it's like an epic film, but it's indie. It's just us doing the best we can with what we have, but the story is epic. And I think that's why you can have whatever you want. Doesn't matter what the story is. You just have to find a way to bring it to life, however you can. And you don't have to have a whole lot. Look, the main thing out of anything that you do is story. That's the first thing that you want to understand, is have a story interesting enough that people want to see you do it, or people just want to see it done. That's the biggest thing. So you think about it, if you have an idea and you put it down and then you recite it to yourself, or say it to a friend or somebody and say, okay, listen, this is my idea. And you say it and you ask them, or even ask yourself, really depending what it is this interesting enough for people to say, I want to see that? Even if they didn't know you, because half the time, more than half the time, really, majority of the time, people are going to look at your work that you have no idea who they are. So you figure, okay, is this story interesting enough for people just to want to see it, high level or low level? So once you kind of feel they do, and you think you got something strong, you really want to tell the story that you have, then as you write the story, always write the story in a way where you can film this next week. You can film this within a few weeks. Nothing that you can't get to, nothing that you have to get a huge amount of resources and support and capital even to get there. That is going to hinder you. That's going to definitely discourage you, and you're not going to get anywhere with it. And you're always going to have an excuse of why you're not going anywhere. So what you want to do is say, you know what? All right, let me pull my bull-headed head out. You know what I'm saying? Let me put my laser-focused eyes in effect, and they focus those bad boys, and then say, okay, boom, let's do it. And then you do it. Because, like I always say, I like to toot my own horn at times, and I'm going to, but that just means you got a lot of people out there who just have these epic ideas or epic films and these things, but they don't have all the support. We're always looking for support, a producer, someone that says, hey, I see what you want to do. Let's do this, and I'll help you get to that level, and let's see if this thing's going to fly. But the first thing you have to do is say, well, how can I get the closest thing to it, but still do it? And that's how I got these going. Well, yeah, these going. So I made 4 episodes in 3 years. It's a long time, 3 years, but you got to understand that mine is with visual effects, and my work and is original music, original effects. So, you have people writing things, creating things from scratch. And then people have lives. So you have to kind of have these huge scenes in these areas and, in environments that you want to get to make those moments interesting enough. It's kind of tough at times to get. So that is one big thing too, is that while you do this, what resources do you have? Like, the first thing is, okay, cameras, you can always get a camera, you can always get lenses, you can rent those, but that's money. And I understand sometimes you just don't have the dough. But what's really important is environment. What environment are you going to film this in? Is this environment that you choose interesting enough for someone else to look at and go, you know what, that's an interesting place. It looks good. I like where you're going with it. It fits the storyline. You want that. You just want to pick any place that has a plug. You don't want to do that. You would do your best to try to find a place or ask somebody for a place or a favor or something, some type of resource, some type of environment where people will say, that's kind of cool where you are. Because remember, your environment is always going to be part of your story. That's always going to be a character in your story where you place your actors. So you figure, okay, well, let me get the most, since it's low budget, because I'm talking about low budget, if it's low budget, then you say, I need a place that just looks interesting enough as a character. So even if it's low budget and you got these guys that no one knows about, people still want to look at it because they're just interesting in the environment and where you got these characters. And then they'll start listening to the characters too. And then the characters get interesting and everything starts to come up nice and pretty. And that really, really helps a lot. And it actually does influence your actors as well if they're in an environment that actually looks or looks as close as what you wrote, or really, really just pertains to what the scene's supposed to have. So that is cool. So you want that. But when you do that, there's something you have to keep in mind, is that a lot of times, I know for me anyway, if you go out and you get a place, a bar, or club or whatever. If it's not someone that's really close to you or your boy or you, whoever, you know, time is of the essence. So when you write these scenes, make sure that you can actually, every scene I write, I look at it as if, can I do this in a day? I mean, that's how I do it. Now, if I have to break it up in the days, I try not to go more than 2 days, because a lot of times, you know, most of these places, if it's not your house, if you have to go to a place, ask an owner to borrow time, you know, in their place, then you know you're going to be, you know, pressed for time. And everything is going to be running really fast, and you're trying to squeeze so much in a short amount of time. So you have to write it, or just think, or if you have to rewrite it, just think of how I can do this scene within a day. And then if you can do that, then you know, okay, well, okay, that's done. Because you always have to look at each scene as little boxes, right? It's like little bricks to make a house. So everything is like a little brick, and you put them together in an editing room later on. But right now, you have to create all those little bricks, all those little bricks have to be made by you. But you have to make sure that when you make these bricks, you can complete them every time. Remember, it only takes one brick to destroy everything. Everything will fall half the time. So you don't want that. You don't want too many cracks. You're already going to have cracks just because we're indie. We can just do so much. Nothing's perfect, but you want to kind of get as much as you can in there. Now, 2, renting. I know I mentioned it not too long ago, but renting is important too. If you can rent something, go for it, do it if it's affordable. Now, I'm a big proponent of just buying outright, because if it's a camera or whatever you're using, you want time to mess with it. You want time to kind of get all of the bugs out if you're not familiar with that equipment in the first place. So, you know, do your best to either rent it for a little while every now and then if you can, a day or 2, whatever, and just get really, really familiar with it. Because when you start filming, you get onto the set and the bullets start really flying, you need to know that machinery backwards and forwards and all of its flaws. So if you have the opportunity of buying the camera outright or whatever you want, then I would highly, highly recommend get a loan. And if anything you have to get a loan for, anything that you're going to have to kind of struggle to pay back on is a camera. So I would say get the camera that you want. Lenses, rigs, all those things you can always either rent, or you can buy at a cheap price because you just need something to hold it or whatever. Batteries and everything, you can always get over with all that. All of the accessories on it you can always get around, except if you use Red. So that's a whole other beast, okay? Red you can't get around. I'm talking about cameras that I use. You know, you get some DSLRs out there, you can always rig those up. The one I use for my movie is Blackmagic Cinema Camera 4K. The older one with the brick. I like the brick because it's just a less footprint around me every time I film, because I film in so many places. Especially you want something that's quick and easy and fast. You can pick up and go, especially for mine, because I'm always outside, I'm always moving, or I'm having fight scenes, so I need to be very nimble, and I don't need anything too big all around me. You know, I got to be able to go on the ground and point up in the air. I need to be like in the weeds, on my stomach, filming through the grass. I need that flexibility, which is why I use the brick. So if you guys out there can't afford it, to say, for example, the new Blackmagic Ursa Mini that costs from, you know, $3,400 to $6,000, if that's too pricey, which it is, then you know what? Go ahead and get the older one, which is the Cinema Camera 4K, the brick. You know what I mean? That one does just as good. You know, it looks great. It looks awesome. If you look at my movie on Amazon Prime, check it out. You can actually look at, I say the best one, you can say look at number 3 and definitely look at number 4. And when you look at number 4, you can see how good it looks, especially during the fight scenes. You can really, you know, I really got it where I needed to on those fight scenes on number 4 on Amazon Prime. So check it out, or World of Worlds. World of Worlds, just look at my name, Barry Gaines, and you'll find World of Worlds. But you'll see it and you can get an idea of what camera I'm using and why I use it. And that doesn't cost as much now. I mean, you can actually go on eBay and get a brand new one for like $8.99. You know what I mean? You can probably maybe hopefully bid it out to get it down to like $700 and change. And most places still are selling it for like $1,200 or $1,300, but it's a whole lot less than $3,000 to $6,000. I mean, it does have 12 stops on it, so you know it's going to look still good. It's still going to separate really, really well. Now, of course, you know, you have the new 4.6K for Blackmagic, which is awesome. And I forget how many stops it has on it, but it's more than 12. I think 16 stops or 15, 16 stops, I think. But it really, really, I mean, I understand why you're paying that money. But if you just need something that looks great, and you don't mind 12 stops, you know, in it, then I would definitely go for the Blackmagic 4K cinema camera, the brick one, and just rig it out. And trust me, it works well. It has its own little monitor on it. I would still recommend to get an external monitor. Don't use the monitor unless you're indoors. Outdoors is terrible. It does have a reflection. It's definitely going to need an external mic, of course. If you do a movie, of course, you're going to have an external mic. Don't use the mic that's in there because the mic is terrible in that. They put all the money in the visuals where it needs to be. Everything else can be whatever, sound. Even the battery life is not very good in this. You're going to have to get an external battery for it. And I don't recommend using SanDisk for it. I actually, you know, so I just highly do not use SanDisk. I used it for a while with it, and something happened, and you know, it just wasn't certified for Blackmagic. For SSD cards, don't use SanDisk for it if you can. If you have to, you have to. I'm quite sure you'll be fine for a little while. I'm gonna let you get scared. You put it in there, and you're gonna lose everything, gonna blow up. No, it's just that it's not certified for Blackmagic. So you know, it does get hot, and you need something that's gonna take the heat. Also, too, when it fits in the slide, doesn't fit very well. There's a lot of give on it. And you don't, you know, when it's moving around, the camera's moving around, that means it's moving around a little bit inside, and that can cause issues. It can cause drop frames. So, you know, just get the ones that are certified, and they do have a list on Blackmagic. So I just want to kind of veer to the Blackmagic promo there for a moment. Just want to say what I use. So if you, like I said, if you want to see Blackmagic, like everything it has and everything it can do, perfect lighting, you put everything where it needs to be. Check out number 4, definitely in my series. Just go to Prime. You can always forward it if you want straight to like the fight scene, whatever. But just want to check it out, how it looks. You can get a really, really good idea of it. So how to film anything you want with nothing. So let me go back to that real fast. That myself, really just to kind of sum it up, is the one thing is always write something that you can do the next day, or the next week, or within that month, something you can realistically do. Do not write things you can't do at all, or nor do have the money to attain it. It's just suicide, and you would get discouraged so easy. And one thing that's easy in this business, it's easy to get discouraged. So do yourself a favor and just write things you know you can get to. Write situations, write things you know you can do. You know, once you do that, then you're all right. Now, some of you may already have something written. You already have the script down. But you're looking at it and you're like, you know what? For me to even do this, I'm going to need this, and this, and I really can't attain it right now. I need to find someone to help fund it. I need to find an angel investor. I need to find all these things, you know, just to kind of get to it. And if you can, then go for it. You know, bless you on that. But if you can't, and it's just like, you know, you just want to get it done, then you can always adjust it. There's always a situation, and anything that you write, that you can write it in a way where you can get it done today. You can get it done tomorrow. You can get it done yourself somehow. You can always change it. I know a gentleman recently who I spoke with who had like this sci-fi kind of a sci-fi action thing. And, you know, when he wrote it, he just wrote it outright. Like, he didn't care. It was just a story, and he wasn't planning to film it yet anyway, so he just kind of threw it out there. But he was kind of discouraged because he said, you know what, I want to make this, but I really can't yet. And I said, why can't you make it? I mean, of course you can make it. You just have to adjust it. It's your movie. It's like, it's your idea. You can write whatever you want. I mean, you can just jot down boogity boogity boo, and it's yours. No one, it doesn't matter. You know what boogity boo means. So go ahead and just twist it. How can you get this done? If you had nothing, but you had to get it done, what would you change in your script? And that is what you have to look for. And that is what you have to think of. And when you think of that, it happens. I mean, it actually happens. I mean, you actually think about it and go, oh, you know what? I really don't need that. I can actually move it here and shift here, shift that, shift here. And you're like, oh, that's how, okay, I could do that. I can do that. It may not be the exact way you want it, you know, like a big Hollywood way that you originally wrote it, but you can get it close enough with what you have and get it out there for people to see, and people to see your story. That's all you want to do is people to see your story. So that's really, really vital on that. Camera, just get the cameras, lenses, rigs, all that stuff, SSD cards, everything that goes with it, lighting. You can always get that later. You can always rent those. But the main thing, if you're going to take a loan or kill yourself on, is the camera. Get the camera first. So the next thing I do want to tackle is, how to make a film series from scratch. This kind of rolls in what I was just talking about actually trying to make a film with nothing. And you can. Don't let anyone say you cannot do it. You can do it. Anybody can, because you see it every damn day. Hey, I did it. A lot of people do it all the time. It's not easy. You just have to have patience, drive, being focused, and being a butthead. Just be fucking buttheaded. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what anyone says, you're going to make it. You're going to write what you want to write, and people are going to say what you need them to say, and that's it. You know what I mean? And just get it done. And you know what? When it's done, no one can say anything to you. Now, making a film series is a little different than, say, making a film, like a full-fledged 2-hour or 90-minute film. Making a film series at an independent level is a little different than making a feature. And actually, it's much more conducive. I think it's just a little easier. You know what I mean? And thanks, Chip. And it allows you to breathe. It allows you to have another chance at something. It allows your actors to build. It allows you to build as an artist. It allows everyone that's part of your crew, anyone that's part of that production, to grow, learn, and expand. And that's one thing I love about film series. It's the reason why I have my film series, because we can just film a bunch of little shorts, create the character and just continue with the story, and build and build and build. And then people who watch me can see the growth. They can see where it's going. Just like you watch any show. When you watch a show in the beginning, you can tell they didn't have that much money to do what they have to do. And by the time the third season comes, you see how much it expanded, because now they got more support. Then they got more people following. They're able to kind of raise their capital. These are things that, may not equate to you when it comes to finances, but it does equate to you about experience and about being more seasoned and growing your world. And that's why doing a film series is really advantageous for a lot of filmmakers. Instead of just having a short, instead of just writing one short, okay, just one, you know what I mean? It's cool, but when you write a short, you have to have you have to have all three aspects of that story in a short amount of space. Some do it well, some don't, but it's kind of hard at times, to have a beginning, a middle, and end, and you have to kind of make it make sense. Like, why even watch it? I mean, that's the thing. Like, why even watch it? So it's the hardest thing sometimes to make a short, and when you look at it, it buttons up all nice and pretty, however you want it. I would recommend not to make it so open-ended at the end of it, where people have to think about too much, because then it gets annoying. People get discouraged. It gets annoying. And I hate that when it's wide open. I'm like, then won't you finish the story then? I mean, it's too wide open. Button it up. I think the easiest way is to button it up. But when you have a film series, now you don't have to worry about that. Now you don't even have to worry about finishing nothing. You just keep telling. You know what I'm saying? You just keep breathing. You just keep growing. You know what I mean? And that is great about a film series. Now, the film series, there are things about a film series you need to keep in mind when you film something, as opposed to filming a movie. One is the dependability of your cast. That's important, because if you keep building and you keep filming, over time, sometimes actors leave, and then you have to fill that character with a new actor, and that's something that people have to sometimes get jolted, like, whoa, what happened to her? What happened to him? Like, how did this change like that? It's because time. It's time, and people move. Now, when you do a full-fledged film, a lot of time you say, okay, listen, we're going to do this film, and everyone's ready to go, and you're the character, and that's it. But when you start having a series, it just keeps going. But a lot of times you will probably keep the actor more you know, when you have a series, because they know they can keep getting better and better and better. Their characters growing, growing, and growing, and their faces getting out there more and more and more and more and more. So having a film series, again, you have to keep the same idea of filming anything at an independent level where you can actually film it for real. Where you can actually film it tomorrow. Like, don't write things you have to wait months for, and you have to buy all this and all that. You know, like, you don't need to do that. Write it where it makes sense. That's what you guys have to do. You know what I mean? So I say, if you're doing a short, or if you want to do a feature but don't have the money like a lot of us don't, then I would say, you know what? If you like your story, you feel your story has a lot of leg, has a lot of, and it expands, it has a lot of life, there's another world, there's a lot of things you want to explore, then film series is the way to go. Also, it will get you easier with distribution. People like to see different episodes. Most of the hit content you have out there are what? Series, you know? Game of Thrones, and it goes on and on and on, right? Series, always a series, always a series, you know, billions, and it keeps going, keeps going. Classic series, you know, like Dexter. It's always a series, right? You can make your own series, that's what I'm saying. And it really kind of gets people into the character. It's not like it's a movie, you just one and done, and that's it, and the movie's over with, and it's like, you know, they're just going to keep watching the same thing over and over again. But in the series of especially when low budget like us, it's easier for you to say, okay, I'm going to do 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 20 minutes here, whatever. Put it together, and then you can get it out there. Start getting people to kind of look at you. Start getting people into your characters, you know? Start getting people to really be involved and know who are these people, where are they going? And then it helps you as a creator. Either you're a director or the writer or producer, but as an artist, you can build and just get better. Because you start to see your stuff, you can actually fix everything. You can fix this. Let me go back. You can fix whatever you felt was a shortcoming of yours in prior episodes, as opposed to when you do a film, that's it. You can't prove it again. You can't work on it. You can't tell people, hey, I got better. Yo, I got better. I got better. It's too late. It's a feature. You did it once, and that's it. But with a series, that's when you show growth. Like I mentioned before, you can show how you're building muscle, how everyone in the production is growing, getting bigger, getting more seasoned. I mean, all of that. I mean, you can just, and that's why doing a series, I think, is the best way to go for anybody. I mean, doing a full-fledged 90-minute film is a lot. I mean, it's a lot to commit to, and there's a lot of hours. And when you're dealing with people who have lives, they're not, say a professional actor 24/7. You have a life, you got bills, things like that. You got to go to work. So you say, well, I need something that I can do, film, edit, get out there really quick, start getting people to look at it, establish my world with an audience, and then go back and then say, okay, you know what? I know what I did wrong in there. Now the next episode is going to look better. I'm going to do different things, and now people are going to see growth. They're going to actually appreciate it more if they can just get through that first one or second one or whatever. I mean, these are the things that go through your head, and these are the things that's going to happen to you. So that is why when you start doing any of these, if you start, filming anything or prepping for anything, the primary thought you always going to have on anything you do is, can I do it now? That is the key. Can I do it now? Now I'm talking for directors. I'm talking for producers. Now writers are a little different. The writers just write. But if you're a writer director, you're a writer producer director, you're someone who actually can create it, can film it, then you need to say, okay, well, I want to get this out now. I'm not going to wait. You know what I mean? So let me get it out now. Let me get something. And that's when you throw out a series. So you people out there want to have a series, do it. Actors, I think a series is great. If you can get yourself in a series of any caliber, it works really well. I mean, it's really cool to have because think of it, how many times can you improve on your character? When you do a full-length film, you get what you get. And a lot of times you figure the character out and everything like the last week of production. I mean, how many times have you actors have done that, out there, like, you go through the process and everything else. And it's like, now you're like a couple months in or whatever, and you guys finally are getting it to the end and everything else. And then now you really feeling comfortable with it. Like you got this down packed. Too late now. You had the last couple of scenes to get done. You're like, damn, I wish I had a chance to go back to the character and just show what I learned, like show where it's going. I want to show how I grew. And that's why a series helps you grow as an actor. You can just build. So that is something I just want to express, and something that just to keep in mind. So if you're out there, you get your movies, do your job or whatever, but if you can get yourself in a series or whatever, I'm saying go for it. Get into a series. I mean, that's just the way to go. That's why I have my guys here. What I'm doing. We all growing, and you can see from episode to episode to episode. And we have a bunch of episodes coming up soon anyway that we're filming and getting together. So it's going to look really cool on our next season that's coming up right now. Now, this season only has 4 episodes. I'm going to add a little more, but all of the new scenes that are coming is going to be grand. I mean, they're really going to show how we got better, how we grew, how we built upon this world and where we're going. The environments change a lot. They're going to get a little more interesting, more intricate. See where we're going, which is why we always ask them, like, hey, listen, you know what? For donations, we want to build this as something special. And someone there wants to produce it. Say, listen, let's get the money. Let's produce this. Let's get this to a level where it needs to be. And that's what we're looking for, and that's what we want. And but for the time being, we're out there and we're just pushing it out there to see if we can get a following. So far, so good. We have had a lot of people watch it, and we just need to keep going. That's what we're doing. We just keep going and keep going and keep going. We're not going to stop. This story is too good to just kind of let it just run nowhere. We're working very hard to kind of get this out to somebody or someplace as much as we can, which is why we did not stop. I know it's my production. I do mostly everything, and I know I did not want to stop. Like, all because I couldn't get someone to invest or someone didn't want to donate or whatever. I just put my own money in, and if nobody wants to sign me, I went out there and found the distributor to get us on Amazon, because we soon will. Not only are we on Amazon, but we should be soon on Google Play, and then we could be on iTunes probably at the end of the year. And as we do that, we're building and we're making new episodes, and we're going to drop it on there. So we're just building this world ourselves. And if I can make it to a feature film, it would be awesome. It's a big world. It'd be kind of tight to kind of put it all into a feature film. It'd be more like a trilogy if that's the case. But anyway, that's what we're doing. That's what we have planned. And I just want to kind of talk tonight about these few things. I know I kind of hovered over it and kind of glaze over it a little bit, whatever. But those guys, you guys out there who are interested in this, just to know like what goes through like a director's mind, like what goes through my mind, what goes through the producer's mind. This is what we talk about. This is what we think about all the time. And what you should do, especially if you're just starting, and even experienced guys. You do things, you do it so much that sometimes you forget. You don't have time to kind of sit back and look at yourself and go, "Oh, what's the common denominator of something that's always going wrong?" And when you figure that out, then you correct the issue. So, and that's the same thing for actors. You see something that's wrong, or you're not getting something or whatever, then you have to kind of look at yourself or just look at the surroundings and kind of figure out what's the deal. And a lot of times, I'm going to tell you a secret before I run. A lot of times, actors, right, don't get a certain role. I think because it's a lot of reasons, a lot of variables. It's not like one thing. But I tell you what you can do. Go into roles that really, like go into a genre. Go into a role with a genre that you really get into. When you really get into it. I mentioned this before in my prior vlog, and I just want to reiterate it. Trueness is powerful. You feeling it inside, truthfully, as opposed to just being able to do it, shines much brighter than you think. People know when you're really into something. People can feel when you like something. And the people know that when you just have a good talent and you're doing a role, but you don't really feel in it, but you can do it, we can tell. And people can tell, and that's synergy, that's energy. But when you go into something and say, you know what, I don't want to take those roles. I don't want to, I don't know, say romantic comedy. I don't want to do romantic comedies, but people like romantic comedies, so I want to do a romantic comedy. Don't do that. You say, no, I like sci-fi, or I like dramas, or I like gangster films, or something like that. Then you know what? Then you look for those, because you know when you're in that environment with those people who are making that type of movie, you're so excited. You know what I mean? You're just so hungry because this is what I'm looking for. I love this stuff. And people's going to see that, and it's going to shine through to your performance. That's why we feel when we look at a movie, if someone did a good performance or not, we can always tell when they just kind of gone through the process, right? Just for a check. Don't be that person, because nowadays it's too easy to see. So don't be that person. All right, so I made it short tonight. Love you all. If you have any questions about anything, you want to talk about something, a subject, whatever you want to get together, let me know. I'm always saying eventually I'm going to have some people on with me. It's hard to kind of get people at times, but I will. And if also too out there again, I'm on Indiegogo. We're looking for donations to kind of get this going. We got lots of stuff that we have to do, and it's bigger and better, and we just need some support to kind of get it to that level for you guys, to entertain you guys. So go to Indiegogo, look for it. The link is already in the thread right now. You can go up and check it out. Also, check us out on Amazon, of course, now in the episodic format. So we're not in the old way where just one big movie. Now we actually have an episodic format, so you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4 all together for free on Amazon. So check it out. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, or whatever. Do watch 1, 2, and 3. When you see 1 and then you see 2, you're gonna see a huge difference. And that's what I was telling you about before. When you just start to understand what you have, what you're doing, where you're going, you start to grow. So 1 and 2, like you look mine, are almost like 2 different movies. That's just because we had a chance to improve. So that's like an example, you know what I mean? So when you look at that, and then when you look at 3, you say, oh, okay, there you go. Then you look at 4, and then 4, then it gets much more elaborate, you know, much more complex. That's when you can see how everything is just building. So that's what I'm talking about. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, yeah, just go to my movie. You can see what I'm talking about. You can see from episode to episode where it's going, and you know how we improve and the changes that we made. So, all right, love you guys. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow night or later on or whatever. Have any questions, do let me know. And I will see you guys soon enough. All right, peace.